Before the wonderful time of the internet and everyone carrying around supercomputers in their pocket, if you had a question about something, you had several options. Ask someone who knew the answer you needed, or try to find answers in books or magazines related to the topic. Well, today we are going to bring that old school idea to life with a virtual encyclopedia entry for every production McLaren since the 1990s. This is the Car Encyclopedia Episode 1, McLaren Production Cars. Starting in chronological order of production McLarens, we come to arguably the most recognizable and sought after of all McLarens, the 1992 McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 is a 90s masterpiece with a mid-engine design, sleek rounded features, and an integrated roof scoop that feeds the F1's naturally aspirated 6.1-liter V12. And you can't forget the doors that go up. Arguably, the most unique feature of the F1 is its middle driver's seat arrangement, with two passenger seats on either side just behind the driver's seat. Produced from 1992 to 1998, just over 100 total models were built. The next McLaren model starting production in 2011 would be the McLaren Mp4-12c, also referred to as simply the 12c. Again, McLaren would put their engineering prowess on display with their return to production cars. The 12C would feature a carbon fiber monocoque chassis, which transitioned over from the McLaren F1 program. The 12C had similar design cues to the F1, but dropped the roof scoop while keeping the butterfly doors. The 12C features distinctive double side vents behind the doors and a double rear exit exhaust that sits above the rear bumper, along with semi-hidden rear taillights. The 12C would be produced from 2011 to 2014, with around 3,500 produced in total. In 2013, McLaren would release what would become a member of the Holy Trinity of hypercars, the McLaren P1. The spiritual successor to the F1, the P1 would feature hybrid technology that, combined with the twin-turbo 3.8-liter V8, gave the P1 a sub 3-second 0 to 60 time and over 900 horsepower. Bringing back the famous roof scoop and ushering in a new design era at McLaren, the P1 would influence several cars to follow and has stood the test of time as one of the greatest cars ever made. The production was limited to just 375 units from 2013 to 2015 and has featured several special editions. Amidst the production run of the great P1, McLaren would unveil their updated evolution to the McLaren 12C, the 650S platform. A more refined iteration that brought the success of the 12C along with lessons learned from the P1. Still rocking the classic twin-turbocharged 3.8-liter V8, this time making over 640 horsepower. The new 650S included design cues from the P1, like dual front intake vents underneath the headlights, and dropped the double side vents for a single large rear side vent. As well as the standard Spider variant, the now iconic 675LT would be based on the 650S platform. With a more powerful engine and track-focused upgrades, the 675LT was limited to just 500 units, making it a highly sought-after special edition McLaren. The 570S platform would begin production in 2015 and would see great success for McLaren with variants like the 540C, the 570 GT, and the 600LT. The 570S would feature newly designed aerodynamic features such as an upgraded side vent. Newly designed headlights that mimicked the McLaren logo would also stand out, sitting directly above a new fin-shaped air duct. These new features updated the look of the 570S from its predecessor, while also beginning to cement the McLaren style of the time period. Powered by a twin-turbo 3.8-liter V8, the 570S makes over 560 horsepower, more than sufficient for its day, while still being plenty of fun over a decade since its release. The 570S would finish production in 2021 with an estimated 4,000 models having been produced. The McLaren 720S would take center stage for McLaren in 2017, featuring a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 putting out over 700 horsepower. The 720S was the true culmination of McLaren technology. Despite an updated body style, the 720S is still very much part of the McLaren aesthetic. A long, sleek mid-engine monster that is known for being tuned to create some crazy power figures, the 720S is truly an iconic supercar. The major track variant created based on the 720S was the 765LT. Much like the predecessor 600 and 675 LT, this was a more track-focused, tuned-up variant of the 720S and was limited in production to just 765 units, while the 720 itself saw around 5,000 total units produced. During the production run of the 720S, another of McLaren's special limited cars would hit the market, none other than the McLaren Senna. Named for famed F1 driver Ayrton Senna, the McLaren Senna would be a track-focused supercar made for the street. The Senna would incorporate classic McLaren design while putting aerodynamics and performance at the forefront of the car's design. Featuring a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 making nearly 800 horsepower, the Senna could rip around Laguna Seca in just under a minute and 28 seconds. The Senna's striking design earned it many fans while also earning it many critics. Early on, I was one of the critics who didn't get the buzz, but looking back, the Senna is definitely a unique and beautiful piece of machinery. Limited to just 500 units, the Senna is not likely something you'll spot in everyday traffic. The McLaren Elva would be unveiled to the world in 2019. Its most distinguishable feature? No front windscreen, creating a completely unique driving experience compared to any other McLaren. Again, powered by a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, this time making over 800 horsepower, the Elva will get to over 120 miles per hour in around 6.5 seconds. Not just a thing of beauty, but the performance to make the experience memorable. At only 149 models being built, this makes it rarer than the P1, an already out of the ordinary McLaren to catch at your local Cars and Coffee. The McLaren Speedtail was announced in 2018 and was the culmination of 3 decades worth of road-going McLaren design and engineering. A long and sleek body shaped to cut through the air, the Speedtail's more than 1,000 horsepower hybrid powertrain consisting of a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 and an electric motor for extra kick. This combination gives the Speedtail a sub 3-second 0 to 60 time and a staggering top speed in excess of 250 miles per hour. As a nod to the first production road-going McLaren, the Speedtail has the same center seat interior layout, giving the driver an amazing field of view as they push this modern hypercar to its limits. And limit is the right word here, with only 106 of these beautiful machines having been produced. The McLaren GT, built for those long-distance drives that take you around the world, but doing so in style and comfort with the performance of McLaren under your foot. The McLaren GT began production in 2019, a more refined experience with less aggressive styling and a more relaxed twin-turbo V8, only making around 600 horsepower, but still very capable as the car has a top speed just over 200 miles per hour. The exterior appearance, while still very McLaren, blends some of their earlier designs like the 12C with more contemporary McLaren flair. In 2025, an updated GTS model has taken over. With some updated styling and slight performance improvements, the GTS will carry on what the GT started in this new Grand Touring line. In 2021, McLaren would try something outside of their comfort zone with the McLaren Artura, leaving behind the standard McLaren V8 in favor of a 3-liter twin-turbocharged V6 coupled to an electric motor that gives the Artura a combined 670 horsepower. The Artura is a look into the future of what supercars may become, having to deal with ever more restrictive regulations around the world. Being built with light materials so as to keep the weight as close as possible to a traditional combustion car that doesn't have to worry about the added weight of the hybrid system, while also keeping the performance of a McLaren, still capable of over 200 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 time of just 3 seconds. And finally, the last car on our list, the newest addition to McLaren, the 750S. A direct successor to the wildly popular 720S, the new 750 features an increase of about 30 horsepower over the 720, putting out 740 horsepower from its 4-liter twin-turbo V8, capable of a 0 to 60 time in just 2.7 seconds. Along with the power upgrade, minor aerodynamic changes have been added to improve the overall handling and performance on the 750S. With production having only just begun, it's uncertain how long the 750S will remain the flagship McLaren, but one thing is certain. It carries on the legacy of the company with the style and grace every previous model has maintained. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.